Hi, welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. Always special guest. Dr. Williams' guest from UDC is Dr. Nika. And actually, she wrote a book called Palestinian I think I got it. Was it
Nakba?
Nakba. And she wrote it about her different experience. She speaks 3 or 4 different languages and everything. So, hey, this is very special. Whatever you do, you better, this is an opportunity you get to really get into what the Palestinians are doing and what's going on and what she has done. She is a doctor, a PhD at the University of D.C. Welcome to the Ed Brown Show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Boy, I tell you, that book is really something. Give us your background. You have so much background.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for having me first. And then who I am. I'm Abir Kayet Pelon. I was born in Beirut in a Palestinian camp, refugee camp. And to a Palestinian parents, both my parents, my dad and my mom was born in Palestine, in Haifa, before 1948. Nowadays become Israel. So we are refugees of the north of Palestine, and we went to Lebanon after 1948 because it was the first cities after Haifa. South of Lebanon has a border when north of Palestine, historical Palestine. So this is who I am. I was born in a camp, and then I moved in 1982.
Brothers and sisters?
Brothers, oh, we have a lot. We do. You know, my parents, I always share that with my kids at school. We call them kids.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, my parents, they didn't have Facebook and social networking, so we are 9. 5 boys and 4 girls.
5 boys
yeah.
and 4 girls. Wow.
You know,
Let's see, that's a baseball team.
It is. 9. With my dad and my mom, absolutely,
right.
Absolutely.
That's a baseball team. Well, tell us, how did you get writing a book like this? You translated into different languages.
It's gonna be translated, absolutely, Edward. It's well, this book, as you see, it's called. Of course, now it's in Arabic. It's gonna be in English and in French and Hebrew soon.
French and Hebrew.
Hebrew and English too.
And English.
It's called the Nakba al-Mustamirra, the ongoing Nakba, 1948 to 2013. After the state of Israel create its own state on the Palestinian land in May 14, 1948. So we have 65 years of I called it التشرذم 65 عاما من التشرذم أين فلسطين 65 years of fragmentations. Where's Palestine? And hear my name. So the book, it has 65 poems, and each poem describes a certain step of the Palestinian life after 1948, describe how the Palestinians lived, who went to Lebanon, and what the departure means. And the book by itself, it's a project, it's a human project. I called it non-violent resistance to the Israeli occupation of our land. So in this book, I describe our struggle, our anger, our unsatisfaction, our unhappiness, but in a very poetic way, to show the whole world that Palestinians, we are human beings, we have feelings, and we can express our anger in a very nice, romantic way. This is how it is.
And so how long did it take you to put that together?
Well, the whole idea started back when I was living in Paris. But after, I think, I got pregnant with my first baby, Layla, I could not finish it. The whole idea started to describe our struggle. Then we moved to United States of America. I moved to United States after September 11. I believe that Americans must be educated about the Arabs and Muslims and all those issues. And of course, to build cultural bridges with our, Americans, citizens and friends, and of course, to be in academia. So I finished it, it started in 2003, and I finished it in 2013, as you can see.
And what did you actually use, you know, as a backdrop? Your own life or your experiences?
Yeah, absolutely. First I used, you know, I grew up with my grandfather, who was you know, Haifawi. Was born in Haifa, lived in Haifa, and knows everything about Palestine. And from his memories, from his memoir, from his own stories.
That's great.
Yes.
You know, most of us need to do that, need to talk to Grandpa. Because
absolutely.
he can give you some experiences that you never thought about.
No, no, because I wasn't born.
Yeah.
I was born to Palestinian parents in Beirut, and he was born in Haifa. So he has the whole knowledge, deep knowledge, all the history that we don't hear it anymore, because nowadays, even if you say you're Palestinian, sometimes you have to justify why you are Palestinian. And other people.
Well, we say justify.
I mean, a lot of people, even with my student as a professor, the first, I'm American, French, Palestinian, but I'm first Palestinian, because if you look at me, I'm black eyes, brown hair. So, of course, I'm typically Middle Eastern. So they look at you and said, well, Professor, like Pilon, what's that means, and Kayed, but they look, when they enroll for the class, they don't know who's the professor. And after a couple of class, I start, of course, when you teach political science, you touch certain areas and you talk. Then they discover that Palestinians are, here we go, they are human beings, they are educated, highly educated, they're smart, they know how to behave.
Yeah, because of negative PR.
Absolutely,
publicity.
stigma, stereotypes.
All over the world.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I mean, Palestinians nowadays are like anyone, like Americans, like British, like German, like,
Yeah,
So
sure.
like anyone, I think the Nakba 1948, it just gave us as a woman empowerment. I just talked in the conference a couple days ago, how a Palestinian women empower themselves after the Nakba, because they feel they are responsible and they have to exist. So I remember my grandfather saying to me, like, you don't have a land, then you have to get an education. You have to be educated.
Yeah.
So we replace it, and that's who we are.
Interpret some of the things that you have in the book there for me.
Would you like?
Yes.
Oh, of course. But with respect, because I love my Arabic language a lot. So I would like maybe to read كيف أنساك يا خالدة. I will read it in Arabic and I'll do translation. How about this?
Okay.
Good? It's called كيف أنساك يا خالدة. يقولون إن البعد جفا وأنت بالجفا خالدة. أصبحت طيفي وروحك بي ساكنة. فؤادي معك وهمومي في نفسي راكنة. لا تلوميني فأنا بعدك مقعدة. عجزت عن الوصول إليك لأرضك المقدسة. حدود وأدغال وألغام زرعت بيننا وهي بإذن الله زائلة. عصف بي الزمان حبيبتي وأصبحت مشردة. لمتني بلاد الجوار وسموني لاجئة.
And you're explaining what now?
Okay, now
Translation.
كيف أنساك يا خالد? How can I forget you eternal? They said that البعد جفا. This we cannot translate it to American, but means like when you are away of your land, it's also dryness. It's like, when you're thirsty and you need to drink. It's really...
It gives you history of it.
Yeah, it gives you, the status of a Palestinians and the diaspora, how we live. This is our case, like we are dry, like a dry body. We don't have any water. وَأَنْتِ بِالْجَفَا خَالِدَ. And you inside this dryness, eternal Palestine. أصبحت طيفي. You become my dreams and your soul live inside me. فؤادي معك, my heart with you, and my also, issues, problem, psychological, daily life inside your strength and your weakness. Don't blame me. I'm after you death. عجزت عن الوصول لأرضك المقدسة. I failed to arrive to the holy land. حدود, borders, and problems and exclusion. That's implanted between us. I hope that one day will be gone. عصف بي الزمان. The life treated me, and I becomes
And
abandoned.
actually, what you do, you give. This is good for the young people too.
Absolutely, this is a hope.
Yes, this is a hope, and this gives them really an opportunity to hear the history, and then not only that is to do something about it.
Absolutely,
Yes.
and this is the action. Maybe the second part where you have to talk about it.
Right, and really, because having that in writing, and you have it in French and you have it in
In
Arabic.
Arabic and in Hebrew.
And
Because my
in
target
Hebrew.
is not only to educate my own people, the Arabs. I think we have a real problem in the Middle East right now.
Yes.
We have those new generations, I call them the iPhone generations, that everything is run fast. And a lot of those generation, like 15 to 20, 25 years old, they
yeah.
don't read.
They don't read.
They don't read.
Right.
The same problem. I have it with my own American student here.
Right. Well, do you? What about electronics? They get involved with that.
They do.
Yes.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Absolutely.
What happens is that one thing about electronics, it gives them an opportunity to get involved in history that normally they wouldn't be bothered with.
Absolutely.
You know, because they have to
Yes.
read it.
Yes.
But if it's on an electronic iPad or iPhone,
Yes.
well, I want to thank you for being here. And this book is just fantastic. And
Thank
you
you
have
so
it in
much.
3 languages.
Yes.
And you're able to do with your students at the UDC now.
And also Montgomery College. I teach
And
in 2
Montgomery College.
campuses. Yes.
No kidding. I think
Well,
it's,
yes.
it's
And also, as I said, in Hebrew, because we also need to educate Israeli or Jews
Right,
who are in
right.
Israel
Other
about the
people.
history.
Yes,
Absolutely,
right.
because they don't know anything.
right.
And they think
they know what's in the newspaper.
Absolutely, yes.
And,
So-
and usually newspaper carry a lot of negative things, you know,
Yes.
instead of positive things. And the
That's
positive
true.
aspects of the Palestinian people need to know about it.
Absolutely.
You know, and the only way they can do it is
It's writing. It's just
individuals like to write
like
something.
have a record of our
Right.
history, because I know we are
Yeah.
not eternal.
Right.
So at least we have to leave records
Right.
for our kids,
Right.
second generation, third.
The
they'll-
third
they will be
generation. That's what you
educated.
have to do.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
it's nice having you here, and congratulations on your book.
Thank you so
and,
much. Thank you.
Tell Dr. Williams this is you're a jewel. You know what I mean? He's
Thank you. I
always
will tell my
fine.
dean. I'll
Yeah.
tell my dean.
Right.
Dr. Williams and I, we shared a lot of
Right.
stuff together, because I think being minorities myself and understanding other
minorities,
issues,
yes.
it's just we have a wonderful relationship and comprehensive
Yeah.
dialogue. So this is what I hope this book will open. It's not preaching hatred,
Yeah.
it's a preaching love and peace, and it's a preaching also knowledge. So I hope people will understand
Okay.
our struggle
Okay,
as a
it's
Palestinians.
been fantastic. You're the first Palestinian I've had on the show.
Oh, okay. So
hi.
hi.
So hi. So
Hi, the
I
first-
think this is the first Fred Brown, and I'm
Really?
just very proud to have you here.
Thank you so much,
and
Brown.
to
Thank
have you write this
And
book.
I'm very proud to
and-
be the first
and-
Palestinian
yeah.
appears in your show.
Right.
Of course. Thank you so
Okay
much.
then. Hey, this has been Ed Brown. Hey, we got going to talk about another minority group. That's the black baseball group, and they're coming on in a second. See you in a minute. All right, welcome back to the Ed Brown Show. And what we're going to do, the World Series is coming on now. We're going to honor the Negro Baseball League. And we have 2 gentlemen here. We have Mr. Clark Walker and Jimmy Bland from the Indianapolis Clowns. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to give you some information you probably don't know. We're going to tell you about the young man that formed the Negro League. And we're also going to talk about Satchel Paige. Remember, some of you don't remember this, is Satchel Paige. He had a hesitation pitch that when he went into the majors with the Cleveland Indians, they outlawed it. He was striking out so many people. But anyway, I tell you what, Mr. Walker, tell us a little bit about the Negro League.
Well, thank you so much, Ed. And also let me say, I was not a Negro League player, but boy, was I a lover of the game. And for those who partook in this, it was very important as black people that we have a team that we could call ours, that we didn't have to go through a lot of changes with.
You can sit anywhere you want.
Yeah. And because of that, some very, very important people had the wherewithal to start this league that was showcased all these great people and all of these great talents. People such as this, a very great man that I'm here with today, Mr. James Bland of the Indianapolis Clowns, who was just an awesome ball player. And I tell you what, I'll let him tell you a little bit.
Okay, Mr. Bland, tell us about those bus trips and all of that kind of stuff. They're still having it now. They're still having a problem with the buses. I know you guys didn't fly anywhere. You went everywhere on the bus. Isn't that correct?
You're so right, Ed. Now, the Indianapolis Clowns played, I guess in about 45 of the 50 states back when I played. And I started playing with
45 of the 50.
Yes, exactly. I started playing with the Indianapolis Clowns in 1959. And of course, when I started playing, a lot of the African Americans had gone to the major leagues. At one time in the late 50s, early 60s, 25% of the ball players in the major leagues were African Americans. Right now, today, only about 5% of the ball players are African Americans.
Why?
And the reason why is because if you look at football and you look at basketball, you
More
know,
money.
is a lot of money, a whole lot of money. But you know, guys are just not playing black guys are just not playing as much baseball now as they played when I was playing, when I grew up. Now, and riding that bus all over the country, you know, we had to eat. And when I was playing with the Indianapolis Clowns, we got $2 a day meal money. That was it.
Wow.
$2 a day.
A day. That's what we had. That's the money that we had to eat off.
And you didn't have McDonald's around either.
No, didn't have any McDonald's. And believe it or not, out of that $2 a day that we made to eat on, that came out of our salary.
They came.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
But it really wasn't that bad because all of the guys on that bus, all we wanted to do was play ball.
But isn't this now? My father played with the Memphis Red Sox, but these guys people used to feed them too. They go to different places and they have these picnics.
Well, you know, I didn't witness that.
You did.
Because your father probably played in the Negro League, you know, somewhere in the 1920s. And
right.
of course, a gentleman by the name of Rube Foster started the Negro League in 1920.
Rube Foster.
Rube Foster. And when you look at 1920 all the way up to 1959, when I started playing, that was a lot of years.
Yeah.
A whole
Yeah.
lot of years.
Yeah.
And
So
tell us,
that's probably why, you know, the people, especially the people in the South, you know,
Right.
Memphis, Tennessee is right next door to Mississippi.
Right,
You
right.
know, as you know.
right.
But those guys were big time celebrities. You know, when they played baseball. Another example, when your father played, they had about 30 to 35 teams in the Negro League. When I played, there was only about 8 left.
Only
So and the reason why is because the guys were going to the major leagues. And our goal, the team that I played for, the Indianapolis Clowns, the most famous person that played on that team, of course, was Hank Aaron. And of course, we know
Hammerin'
about
Hank.
Aaron. We know about Hank Aaron's record.
Yeah.
Hank Aaron hit 755 home runs in his
Yes.
career in the major leagues.
Yes.
I
yes.
tell you.
You know, now when I played, 3 of the guys that I played with, they went on to the major leagues. A gentleman by the name of Harold King, another gentleman by the name of Little Willie Parker went to the major leagues, and it was one other fellow that went to the major leagues, and I can't recall his name that played with me. Okay, I know his name. His name is Haley Young. You know, from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. But it was, and again, our goal was to try to get a major league contract. Now, I was about to sign with the San Francisco Giants because I was a leadoff hitter with the Indianapolis Clowns. My last year with them, I hit
what you do a lot of bunting and you were fast then.
Oh,
did
yeah, I
you?
can run. I can flat out run. But I was a leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
I mean, I can hit the long ball too now. My
Yeah.
last year with the Clowns, I hit 19 home runs.
Wow.
And now, again, our goal was to try to get a major league contract. And the San Francisco Giants was trying to sign me. But of course, all of us had to sign a contract with the Indianapolis Clowns. And the gentleman that handled all the contracts was a guy by the name of Ed Hammond. And they offered $25,000 for my contract.
$25,000.
Now
What was
this
that?
was my 3rd year with the Clowns.
That was
That
not-
was 1960. That
1960.
was 1962 when they offered that.
That was
money.
good money.
Well, plenty of money. and the Giant scout had asked Ed Hammond, our general manager, how much money you gonna get a kid? Well, when a player from the Clowns signed, the Clowns gave the player 10% of the money, which was $2,500 in my case. And the Giant scout told Ed Hammond, the general manager, well, we want the kid to have more money when he goes into spring training. Well, Ed said, well, that's our policy, and you know we can't do that. If I had known I didn't know about the contract. If I had known about the Giants had been following me for
You
about
didn't
a month.
have an agent, right?
No, you didn't have an agent. Agents didn't exist in those days. If I had known about it,
Right.
I would have told the Giant scout, you can give him all the money. You ain't got to give me a dime. You can give him all 25,000. I don't want no money. All I want is a shot. That's all I want is a chance.
A chance.
Yeah,
Well,
and I was thinking about going back to play with the Indianapolis Clowns the following year when I got drafted in the United States Army. And of course, when I got drafted,
that was it.
that was it.
Well, the young man that let's talk about this young man that started the Negro League. Where was he from? And give us a little background.
You know, the gentleman that started the Negro League, his name was Rube Foster, and Rube Foster was from New Jersey.
New
He
Jersey.
was from New Jersey because at one time he was a manager of the Newark Eagles in New Jersey. And he started Negro League in 1920. And back then, you know, you had more Negro League teams than you had Major League teams. You know, as you can see,
What you said? 48 or something?
he's-
How many states was Negro baseball?
well, all the Negro League baseballs are east of the Mississippi River. Then the reason why we travel to 45 states throughout the country,
Yeah.
because like I said earlier, when I played, we played. You know, it was only six to 8 teams in the Negro League. But we played Army teams, we played Air Force teams, we played Sandlot teams, we played a lot of
teams.
college, no, not church teams, some college all-star teams all over the country. We played against a lot of white teams, you know, that were college all-stars, and we played against them. And we used to wear them out.
What do you think about baseball today? The rules and everything, you know, that they have. They have look like every year they come up with some kind of new rule that takes the fun out of the game. What do you think?
Well, you know, the guys right now are getting bigger and stronger. I mean, they are bigger and stronger than it was when I played. You know, I was one of the biggest guys, you know, when I played. There was a couple other guys a little bigger than me. But, you know, not only baseball, but football, basketball, they just getting stronger. At one time, a baseball player wouldn't lift any weights. They're getting bigger. Like I said, they're getting bigger. And the guys that are running professional baseball are a whole lot smarter. That didn't play.
Yeah, what about the safety angle that they really sensitive to now? You know, the catchers had all of this padding, and you know they have these batting helmets. You didn't have a batting helmet in the Negro League, did you?
No, we didn't have batting helmets back then. But you know, the thing is that you know they don't want the players to get hurt. I mean, the way the guys are throwing the baseball now, they're throwing the baseball 95 to 100 miles an hour.
Oh.
You know, if you get hit by a pitch that's coming 100 miles an hour, and
Well, don't you think Satchel Paige threw 100 miles an hour?
he didn't throw 100 miles an hour when I played against him. However, Satchel Paige played baseball, I guess, for 50 years. I mean,
right.
Satchel Paige was probably the greatest pitcher that ever walked the face of the earth. And
That's-
the reason why he's not recognized like that is because he played in the Negro League.
Yeah, he had that famous hesitation pitch, which they outlawed in the majors when they went to Cleveland Indians. You know, I saw that. I've seen him pitch, and I mean, he throw that leg up high, look, and then he hold it arm back, and then when his leg come down, his arm don't come down at the same time. You know, it comes down. What do you think about that pitch?
That was a great pitch, and of course, when I was a young kid, I used to try that. And basically, what he did was that before he threw the ball, he planted his forward foot first, but his arm was still back here.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and then he threw the ball after he planted his foot.
Right.
Normally, you plant the foot and throw the ball
right.
at the same time.
Yeah, because that gives you power.
Yeah,
you know,
and Satchel Paige didn't do that. He was probably the only pitcher that I know back then that was throwing that hesitation pitch. And of course, I don't remember or seeing anybody else throwing that pitch these days.
No. So what they did, he was striking out so many major leaguers, they made it illegal.
Well, probably so. You would probably know that better than
balk?
me.
Now they would call that a balk.
Now, you know what they would call it now? A changeup.
a change-up.
Yes, exactly. Because you're changing the way you're pitching the ball.
Right.
Back then pitchers couldn't throw change-ups. You know,
Yeah,
they didn't know how.
Oh, they didn't. Oh, they didn't have a change.
No, not back then.
Well, what about the ball itself? Do you think that balls are lighter or now than it was then? You think the quality of the ball
Yeah, they're much lighter. But I mean,
and the bats?
Well, the bats are basically the same. All the bats are made out of wood. I mean, you know, if you look at companies like Nike today and some of the other companies, you know, those guys got scientists designing that stuff.
Right.
Back in the day, they didn't have scientists designing
All
that
right.
kind of stuff.
You heard it here on the Ed Brown Show. We're honoring the young man that started Negro League Baseball, and also, you know, they're getting ready to play the World Series, and the Negro baseball players, they played in the World Series too. They played some of the players, you know, they didn't play them, you know, like a scratch game or something. They always played them some other place, and they won a few games from some of the top baseball players in their time. Okay, this has been Ed Brown. Hey, see you next time.